Now, with North Korea and the US looking more and more likely to resume their talks on denuclearization, a renowned nuclear scientist who has been very deeply involved in nuclear diplomacy and security for years now has emphasized the need to engage North Korea through cooperation. He says it's necessary for genuine progress, not just kind words or well-choreographed photo opportunities. Our Oh Soo-young sat down with Dr. Siegfried Hecker for an Arirang News exclusive.
Boosting inter-Korean cooperation through a tailored sanctions relief could break the impasse on denuclearization. That's according to Siegfried Hecker, a nuclear scientist at Stanford University who has been to North Korea 7 times since 2004.
Tailored sanctions relief, I call them tailored to encourage North-South interaction. Not necessarily to drop all UN sanctions, but you could encourage, through tailored sanctions relief, North and South cooperation. And so some economic benefits, economic traction, with reducing the risk on the nuclear side with real steps and rolling back. That's what's going to develop the trust to hopefully, get to the end point of the elimination of nuclear weapons.
Hecker's research indicates that while the North has substantially reduced its nuclear activities compared to 2017, the regime has continued producing fissile material at Yeonbyeong complex. He estimates it has enough bomb fuel to produce around 40 nuclear weapons.
Earlier this year, North Korea offered to dismantle its Yeonbyeong nuclear complex, which critics have said simply isn't enough. But you've been to Yeonbyeong complex 4 times since 2004, and you said that it would actually be a significant step. So should this be something that the United States reconsiders, perhaps?
That's exactly where I would go back to, is to see what can be done as far as Yeonbyeong, and particularly to take those facilities that have the direct weapons relevance and start to roll those back. It's not the whole nuclear weapons program, but all the plutonium, all the tritium is made in Yeonbyeong, and shutting that down, eliminating that capability is a big deal. We should go there.
You said in your report that it may take about 10 years for North Korea to fully denuclearize. Well, what are some ways that they could speed up the process?
So what I had proposed is, why don't we see if we engage the North Korea in what I call cooperative conversion of its nuclear program. In other words, suppose you could actually get the North Koreans to work with you to say, well, there's some parts of perhaps the nuclear enterprise that could be retained that are strictly civilian. Perhaps instead of missile tests, the North Koreans could actually have peaceful space launches. Perhaps those could actually be done cooperatively with South Korea. Now, once you get the spirit of cooperation, then verification becomes much easier, and you could actually shrink that timeline. But to take those steps towards cooperative takes risk.
Given the high level of distrust between the North and the US, Hecker advocates a phased approach to denuclearization through a halt, rollback, and finally elimination. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News.